Santa is coming to New Zealand. Well, boomed Santa, have all the children from New Zealand been good this year? Well, mostly, answered the little old elf as he bustled across the busy workshop to Santa's desk. Santa peered down at the elf from behind the tall, teetering pile of letters that the children of New Zealand had sent him. Mostly? Asked Santa, looking over the top of his glasses. Yes, but they've all been especially good in the last few days, said the elf. Jolly good, chuckled Santa. Then we'd better get their presents loaded up. Even though the sack of presents was really, really big and the owls were really, really small, they seemed to have no trouble loading it onto Santa's sleigh. Though how they managed to fit such a big sack into one little sleigh, even they didn't know, but somehow they did. Splendid, boomed Santa. We're ready to go. Not quite, Santa, said the little old elf. One of our reindeers is missing. Missing? Which reindeer is missing? Asked Santa. The youngest one, Santa, said the elf. It's his first flight tonight. I've called him, but... Just then, a young reindeer strolled up, munching on a large Awakuni carrot. Where have you been? Asked Santa. But the youngest reindeer was crunching so loudly that it was no wonder he hadn't heard the little old elf calling. Oh, well, never mind, said Santa, giving the reindeer a little wink. He took out his Santa nav and tapped in the coordinates for New Zealand. This will guide us to New Zealand in no time. With a flick of the reins and a jerk of the harness, off they went, racing through the sky. Ho, 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 laughed Santa. We'll soon have these presents delivered to the land of the long white cloud. Santa's sleigh flew through the stormy night, heading south. On they flew in the crisp wintry night over the Pacific Ocean. In the wink of an eye, the sleigh crossed the equator, flying on above Little Barrier Island and Great Barrier Island. The youngest reindeer was very excited. He had never been away from the North Pole before. They had just crossed Waiheke Island when suddenly they ran into a cloud. They couldn't see a thing. The youngest reindeer was getting a bit worried, but Santa didn't seem worried at all. In 2 kilometres, said the Santa nav in a bossy, loud voice. Keep left at the next star. But madam, Santa blustered, I can't see any stars in all this cloud. Soon they were hopelessly lost. Then through the swirling cloud, the youngest reindeer heard a faint ringing sound. Ding dong. He looked over at the old reindeer with the red nose, but he had his head down. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. There was that sound again, like a bell ringing. The youngest reindeer turned around to look at Santa, but Santa wasn't listening. He seemed to be arguing with a little box with buttons on it. With a flick of the harness and a jerk of the reins, the youngest reindeer gave a sharp tug and headed off towards the sound of the bells, pulling Santa and his sleigh behind him. Whoa, cried Santa, putting his hat straight. What's going on? Then, to his surprise, he heard the chiming sound. Well done, young reindeer, he shouted cheerfully. It must be St. Patrick's Cathedral. Don't worry, children, Santa is coming. Then suddenly, crunch! The sleigh hit something as it plummeted through the cloud. You have arrived, said the Santa nav unhelpfully. Finally, when the clouds parted, Santa discovered where arrived was. Stuck right on the skywalk of the Auckland Sky Tower. Everybody pull! The reindeer pulled with all their might until at last, with a screeching noise, the sleighs scraped clear of the tower and Santa steered them safely above the library in Aotea Square, over the university and down into the Auckland domain. Luckily, there was no real damage done, but the packages had all been jumbled up. Santa quickly sorted the presents into order. "All right," said Santa. "Thanks to this young reindeer, I know where we are now. Don't worry, children. Santa is coming." Santa drove his sleigh expertly from rooftop to rooftop all over New Zealand, popping in and out of chimneys as fast as he could. There were big chimneys in Auckland and small chimneys in Dunedin. He squeezed down thin chimneys in Wellington and plummeted down fat chimneys in Christchurch. The youngest reindeer was amazed at how quickly they went. Santa never seemed to get tired at all, and it looked like the children in New Zealand were going to be very lucky this year. But the youngest reindeer was starting to feel a bit weary, and quite hungry too. In house after house, Santa delved into his sack for packages of every shape and size. He piled them under the Christmas trees and carefully filled up the stockings with surprises. In house after house, the good children of New Zealand had left out a plate of biscuits, a small glass of milk, and a big, crunchy Awakuni carrot. Santa took a little bite out of each biscuit, a tiny sip of milk, wiped his beard, and popped the carrots into his sack. From Gisborne to Greymouth, from Napier to Nelson, from Tauranga to Timaru, and all the places in between, Santa and his sleigh visited every house in New Zealand. Santa delivered presents to Andrew, Alison, Anna, Arabella, Archie, Ashley. The list went on and on. Zach, Zara, Zeb, Zibble. Finally, Santa had delivered the last present on his long New Zealand list. "Great moons and stars," sighed Santa. "It's nearly morning and my sack seems as heavy as ever. I hope I haven't forgotten anyone." Santa opened his sack to check. It was full of juicy, crunchy Awakuni carrots. Santa divided the carrots amongst all the reindeer. "Well done," he said, patting the youngest reindeer gently on the nose. But the youngest reindeer didn't hear him. He was too busy munching. It was time to set off for home. Santa reset his Santa nav once more to the North Pole, and soon they were speeding across Milford Sound and towards the rapidly approaching dawn. "Ho, ho, ho," laughed Santa. "Merry Christmas, New Zealand."